You may have heard this one. A Jewish man in a hospital tells the doctor he wants to be transferred to a different hospital. The doctor says, "What's wrong? Is it the food?" "No, the food is fine. I can't kvetch." "Is it the room?" "No, the room is fine. I can't kvetch." "Is it the staff?" "No, everyone on the staff is fine. I can't kvetch." "Then why do you want to be transferred?" "I can't kvetch." For those maybe unacculturated to the word kvetch, it means complain. This is the caricature most of us have of Jewish skepticism. We have internalized, I think, a stereotype of ourselves as Jews, a stereotype of someone who is difficult, who asks too many questions, who is never satisfied. And that stereotype may be fed by Woody Allen or Jerry Seinfeld, but it actually has its roots in the Torah. The Israelites are called a stiff-necked people, a people who is stubborn, difficult, and when it comes to advice and directions, skeptical. Both Moses and the Israelites exhibit a powerful skepticism throughout the Torah. They doubt that God has thought through the plan they're a part of. Remember, they asked, "Did you bring us out here to the wilderness just that we would die?" They doubt each other. Is Moses ever coming down the mountain? And they even doubt themselves. If we think about Moses asking, "Who am I to go and speak to the Israelites?" Even as God constantly reassures them that all is well, they hold on to their skepticism like a lifeline. It is as if they are saying at every turn, "I know that you say that this is the way things have to be, but I don't believe you. Does it really have to be this way?" And this challenging of reality is as present to us in this present Jewish culture and tradition that we have as lighting Hanukkah candles or dancing a hora at a wedding. Does it have to be this way? Is a question we've been taught to ask since Torah times. And usually, it's a worthwhile question to ask. Sometimes asking it might mean that you get the best room and the best hospital, an act of tikkun for your own life, an act of repairing for your own preferences and your own situation, but sometimes it can create an even deeper act of tikkun to ask that question. The flip side of asking that skeptical question, "Does it have to be this way?" is that incredible answer that we almost always give. No, we can change this. And that response is not one of skepticism, it is one of faith. The belief that things can change and change for the better is as deep-seated in Judaism as the love-hate relationship that some of us may have with gefilte fish or the sound of a grogger. Faith in the power that lies in our hands, individually and collectively, to make changes to the realities with which we are faced is also one that we have inherited from our Torah ancestors. In the wilderness, the Israelites also exhibit profound faith. They are given a Torah and they cherish its principles and begin shaping their lives around them. They do follow Moses across the sea through walls of water. Moses does speak publicly when God asks him to, even though he's afraid and doubts his own abilities. The Israelites build a mishkan in the wilderness with great trouble, using precious metals, the only thing of value they have on them, even though a permanent settlement of some kind is nowhere in sight or even on the horizon. Even though the pain of the Israelites' past gives them every reason to be hopeless and distrusting, their faith in a new and better future never wavers for long. Their entire existence, every choice they make, responds to the world with a powerful declaration. I know that just because it looks this way right now doesn't mean it will always be this way. I know that my life and the world can change, and change for the better. So skepticism and faith are two sides of the same coin, both born out of an acknowledgement that the world is not as we might wish it to be, both born out of a kvetch. One moves us to give voice to that dissatisfaction, to kvetch, and the other moves us to do something about it. Together, these two Jewish impulses are planted inside of us, inside our traditions, inside of our teachings, our prayers, our jokes, our songs, our stories. These two impulses seed together an even greater, more life-giving impulse, that of Tikkun Olam, mending the world, and Tikkun Atzmeinu, repair of our own lives and our own souls. The Torah itself is a reflection of these instincts. In a time when God's power was indicated, when any God's power was indicated by the strength of that God's people, the Egyptian gods were known to be powerful because Egypt was powerful, so they must be powerful. The Torah is born with a completely different take on the way that the world works. It expresses the belief that the world doesn't have to be dictated by might alone. Rather, the strength of a people and their God can be detected through the way that that people cares for the most vulnerable among them, through the ethics of that community's business dealings, through the way that God's followers sanctify time, both inside their land and outside of their land. God is found not in the sword, the Torah says, but in values, not by might, but by spirit. The viewpoint like this emerges when a group of people are spiritually moved to ask, does it have to be this way? And the answer that they give to their own question is no, it can be different. We will make it different. Skepticism and faith. Reform Judaism is born of these instincts as well. Torah would lose its sanctity if any of its laws and customs are questioned. This is the worldview that pervaded throughout the centuries until reformers asked, does it have to be this way? Can't we love Torah but reject sexism and xenophobia and homophobia? And their skepticism was paired with the deep and abiding faith that the turning and the reimagining of Torah is a regenerating and never-ending process, and that our tradition is resilient enough, strong enough to survive reformation of certain aspects. So we sit here today, all of us, men and women together in the chapel, Jews in loving community with non-Jews in our midst, people of all races and genders and sexual identities in a thriving and vibrant dialogue, all because our ancestors were skeptical enough to ask the question and faithful enough to answer it with hope. We do face many challenges as a Jewish people, and most of them don't have obvious, simple, and finite answers. We are in Bamidbar, the wilderness, when it comes to certain aspects of our personal and communal lives together. So it might behoove us then to look to our wilderness wandering ancestors who gave us, if not a roadmap, then at least an instruction book. And chief among those instructions are these. It is never a bad policy to question what is. And it is always a good policy to have faith that what is can be better. So kvetch away, they would say. And then let's get to work. Shabbat shalom.